Yo, what's good, Karma Nation? It's your boy Tristan, aka Sriracha DFS, coming to you guys live with another NBA DFS DraftKings Picks video for January 31st, 2022, the end of January, end of the first month of the 2022 year. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe to the DFS Karma YouTube channel for more daily media content like this. Also, if you do indeed enjoy the content, if it helps you at all, if you benefit in any way, please go ahead, press that like button. I greatly appreciate it. People Karma appreciate it as well. And yeah, you know how it is. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this Monday slate. Obviously, if you guys watched the NFL games this week, or this weekend, you probably had a pretty good weekend just because of how great and entertaining the games were. Regardless of betting, DFS, how things went, yeah, I mean, it was a very entertaining two games. Definitely did not, by what I did, I definitely was not what I expected. That's what I wanted to say. Bengals beat the Chiefs, Rams beat the Niners, and yeah, that's your matchup for the Super Bowl. So, enough about NFL, sorry. Just wanted to share that with y'all. Let's go ahead and do a little review as we always do. The slate before yesterday's slate, as you can see, Trey Jones top karma value for last night, and I mean it explains for itself. It's definitely the move. It was the move. Trey Jones should have been at least 100% owned. He went off. Drew Eubanks didn't do too well. Yeah, he started. I mean, he did well for his price, but didn't smash, which is what everyone was expecting. Hassan Whiteside did okay. Luka smashed. Vassell didn't do well. I mean, his price is okay. He didn't smash for his price, but he did do okay. Kleber was basically utterly useless throughout the entire game. Jokic did really well. Unfortunately, that was a blowout, so he didn't see fourth quarter run. Karl Anthony Towns did well. Lonnie Walker smashed. Jock Landale, basically the same as Drew Eubanks. Keldon Johnson did okay. Jalen Brunson, that was one of the big letdowns for the day, I will say. Doug McDermott smashed. Giannis did okay. Chris Paul smashed. Will Barton did decent. Cole Anthony did decent. Dwight Powell did okay. Jared Allen did well. And of course, as we go on, karma value lowers, so these plays get a little more, I guess, tough to project. So, with that being said, I mean, looks like the projection portal did very well yesterday. Spit out a lot of good value, spit out a lot of the good studs as well. So, again, if you followed, if you tailed, probably profited last night. Anyways, let's get into tonight's slate. We have a 8-gamer on a Monday. Pelicans at Cleveland. First game on the slate. Cleveland on a back-to-back. On the Pelicans side, Jonas Valanciunas is questionable. Brandon Ingram, questionable. I believe Josh Hart is questionable as well. So that's huge news. Luzada, Kira Lewis, Holmes, and Zion Williamson out, as we've been known. So yeah, this news, pretty big news. If they all play, bump down to everyone that you see here. If a couple of them play, it's actually going to be hard to distinguish who particularly benefits from a specific player being out, and if a couple of them are ruled in. So we'll definitely discuss that in the DFS Karma Discord. If you're there, please go ahead, hop in and hop in the premium as well. If you do sign up, that's where most of the chat is going on. And yeah, we'll discuss what happens when news falls, because this news will come out before slate locks. So hop in there if you want the full scoop. Cleveland side, we got no one really relevant besides Lauri Markkanen, and of course we've known Sexton, Rubio out for the season. So Lauri Markkanen being out gives a big bump up to Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Kevin Love has been seeing more consistent minutes. Dean Wade has been the starter, and he's definitely benefiting from that. As you can see, 26 fantasy points last game, and then a couple of games ago, I think he had 19. So he's definitely worth a look as a punt at 3.2K. Besides that, it's going to be tough to play any of these guys without knowing who's playing on the Pelicans side, because if Willie Hernan-Gomez is going to be the starter. Then, of course, I think Jarrett Allen gets an easy matchup. Mobley gets an easy matchup if Ingram doesn't play. Darius Garland, I think, at 9.1K is probably too expensive for me. Let's see Rondo. Yesterday, Rondo 15.8. Definitely in a good spot here at a GPP punt, I would say. And yeah, that's all I'd go for. On the Cleveland side, Clippers at Indiana next game on the slate. I particularly like attacking Indiana. So let's see if we can figure out anyone here. Leonard, George out. Batum is questionable. He did not play yesterday. Preston out. So with that being said, we saw Marcus Morris come back, play decent minutes, but it was a blowout win. So obviously he didn't get to play the fourth. Same with Reggie Jackson. Don't think he played the fourth. Reggie Jackson finally had a really good game. I do believe he's a good play tomorrow at 5.3K against the terrible Indiana defense. 5.3K, too cheap for him, too cheap for his upside. Amir Coffey is probably not in play with Marcus Morris back. Luke Kennard, worth a look in GPPs. I thought that his ceiling would be limited with Marcus Morris back, but of course they blew him out, seeing that of course, like almost all the Clipper players went off. So with that being said, he's definitely worth a look in GPPs. I probably wouldn't touch Bledsoe if Reggie Jackson's going off. I'd only play one of them if I were to choose. Besides that, maybe just decent GPPs, but I don't think I'd touch anyone else in this spot. Hartenstein definitely worth a look in GPP punts, but I mean, I'm not too confident in that. On the Indiana side, Brogdon's out, Miles Turner's out, TJ Warren out, and TJ McConnell out. And then we have Goga Bitadze as questionable, and I believe O'Shea Brissett is questionable as well. This is decent news because that's their depth that they're going to be losing if they both were to sit. So if Bitadze sits, Isaiah Jackson gets full backup minutes. If Brissett sits, you'll probably see Torrey Craig play a little bit more minutes. Justin Holiday maybe a little bit more minutes. You might see some more Jeremy Lamb, but it shouldn't benefit someone exactly too much. With that in mind, I like Sabonis here against a Clippers team that has been struggling inside as of late. LeVert has been completely letting down. I'm probably not going to touch him until he shows his upside again because he's on a pretty bad slump as of late. Duarte is okay. His minutes last game don't look too great. 5K is definitely not a bad price. Besides that, I don't think I'd touch on anyone else. Yeah, just Sabonis mainly. Memphis at Philly next game on the slates. We have Dylan Brooks out. Tyus Jones might return, which could be a big bump down to Ja Morant. And these guys don't even play, so that news is huge. Tyus Jones playing would bump down Morant, would bump down Melton, Conchar. Yeah, and Zaire Williams is back as well, so Conchar gets a bump down, Melton gets a bump down. All these guys, since they're basically almost healthy again, besides Dylan Brooks, we're beginning to see this team go back to its regular form. Morant's not going to have 38% usage anymore. Jaren Jackson Jr. is worth a look in GPPs at 6.7. Always has high upside because of his stocks, but it is a tough matchup against Philly. Desmond Bane has a pretty decent matchup at 6.1. Steven Adams might be needed tomorrow to guard Joel Embiid. He had a crazy game last time out against the Wizards, which makes sense because Wizards suck at guarding centers. And yeah, I mean, like I said, Anthony Melton gets a bump down with Zaire back, with Tyus Jones potentially back. I'm probably not going to touch him there. Brandon Clark has been losing minutes as of late. Kyle Anderson at 23 minutes, not nice. So yeah, it's going to be tough to play any of these guys with them all getting healthy again. On the Philly side, though, we have Korkmaz as questionable, which is huge because he has been playing huge minutes besides this 16-minute game that he just played. Shake Milton out, Grant Riller out, Ben Simmons out, as we know. If Korkmaz were to sit, you'll probably see Thibault and Danny Green playing good minutes because Korkmaz has been playing good minutes as of late as well. So you'll probably see Thibault and Danny Green get a little bit of a bump there if Korkmaz were to sit. I like Seth Curry's price at 5.3. He played 32 minutes his first game back. Way too cheap for him. 5.3. I would definitely play a lot of him tomorrow just because of that 3-point bonus as well. Cheap price, good matchup. Tobias at 7.8 isn't so bad. His upside is limited now, or is capped with Seth Curry back. So I probably won't touch that. Besides that, I really don't know if I'd touch on anyone else here. Joel Embiid has a decent matchup against Steven Adams. Still a little bit tough. Maxey, Seth Curry's my guy here. Miami at Boston. Next game on the slate. Kyle Lowry out. Yurtseven, Oladipo, Markieff Morris, Myles Garrett, KZ Okpala out as well. So here we go. Jimmy Butler is questionable, and that's going to be huge news. The Miami Heat just played a triple overtime game about 2 nights ago, and he was basically the biggest part of that. So if he were to sit, you'd see Hero and Adebayo get big boosts. You'd see Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus get a little bit of a bump as well. Besides that, I don't think I'd touch on anyone else here. You're definitely going to want to watch this Jimmy Butler news. On the Boston side, just like last time, everyone is basically healthy. Romeo Langford left the game. Don't believe he returned. Not too big of a news there. But Miami's not that good of a matchup for Boston either way. And we don't know if Jimmy's playing. So it's going to be tough to call anyone here. But I do like Marcus Smart's price at 5.3K. I think it's a little cheap for him. I think he has a floor of like 20, ceiling of 30-ish here. Besides that, these guys are pretty expensive for this matchup. Robert Williams, damn. He's going to have a tough matchup against Bam. So I don't think I'd like him there. Besides that, like I said, I don't think I'd go to anyone else on this team. Toronto, Atlanta, next game on the slate. Good place to attack, even though Atlanta has been seeing increased defensive rating, or better defensive rating, and I think they're on 7 straight wins. So they're streaking right now. They feel good. They're pretty confident. So I honestly like the Atlanta side a little more tonight, but definitely could run it back on the Toronto side here. And let's discuss on the Toronto side. Aaron Baines, Kem Birch, Goran Dragic out. David Johnson questionable. Don't really matter. We saw Gary Trent Jr. go nuts in this triple overtime game. The starters have been playing 50. The starters played like 55 minutes each. Absolutely crazy. Fred VanVleet came back from an injury, and he's probably the one I like the most tomorrow out of all these Toronto Raptors. I think he has the easiest matchup here. Scotty Barnes' price went up after that triple overtime game. I don't like that because he only had 40 in his triple overtime game. Remember, all these numbers are pretty skewed because of that triple overtime game. So I don't know if I trust anything here. Gary Trent, obviously worth a look in GPPs with his volume shooting, but 5.8K, pretty steep to pay. I mean, I like I said, Fred VanVleet might be my guy. Besides that, I don't think I'd touch anywhere else. On the Atlanta side, we have no one out. Beautiful. Thank you, Atlanta, for not making me go through an injury report before we hit on the best plays from this team. DeAndre Hunter at 4.6K is pretty cheap. Obviously, they're all getting healthy now, so it's going to be tough to play any of these guys without any sort of bump. Honestly, all these guys are priced pretty cheap. Bogdanovich, if he does end up starting next game or this game against Toronto, I like him at 4.7K. I think that's way too cheap. Capella at 6.3K is very, very cheap. Although against the Lakers today, he did not play too much. 23 minutes. Look at these starter minutes. 25 for Hunter, 25 for Collins, 23 for Capella, around 24 for Huerter. So they are spreading out the minutes a little more. It's a little tough to play them, but that's perfect spot for GPPs in my opinion. Not knowing what's certain and what's not is the perfect place to attack. Capella at 6.3K, super, super cheap. Love this spot for him. I'm probably going to have a ton of him in GPPs tomorrow just because of his price reduction and his upside, as we know. I don't think that they're going to run Onyeka Okongwu another 25 minutes. I don't know if they're going to spread out the minutes like how they did yesterday against the Lakers, but I like the spot for him, 6.3K. I'm booking it in. Again, with, like I said, Bog 4.7K, not bad at that price if he starts. And Collins had himself a crazy game, but before that he's been kind of ass. So yeah, I'm taking Capella over him. Next game, we have Sacramento at New York on the Sacramento side. Terrence Davis out. Marvin Bagley out. That's new. And De'Aaron Fox questionable, which is one of the biggest newses that we need to look for, along with Jimmy and the Pelicans news. If Fox were to sit, Halliburton gets a big bump up. Harrison Barnes gets a big bump up as well. Buddy Hield gets a little bump. Obviously, he needs to start making shots if he wants to make that bump apparent. Davion Mitchell, definitely worth a look as well. He has upside, seeing that he has volume shooting. His stonks are definitely a part of his kit as well. With Marvin Bagley out, we might see Metu start. And that might be a play tomorrow at 3.7. Damian Jones worth a look in GPP punts. Probably wouldn't touch him though. Rashawn Holmes might be my guy at center. 5K against New York. He's with Marvin Bagley out. I don't see how he doesn't reach at least 27 to 30 minutes tonight, and I think he's good for that. 5K, pretty cheap for his price, or pretty cheap for his role. I do like him at 5K there, and yeah, just watch out for this De'Aaron Fox news. On the New York side, we already have their starters, as you can see. Thank you, DraftKings. Derrick Rose is out. Nerlens Noel is questionable, or probable, so he's probably going to play. Besides that, no one else really matters. Let's see. Alec Burks, 5.3K. Bench roll. Cam Reddish has not seen many minutes off the bench. Quentin Grimes has been seeing good run. Probably wouldn't play him, but definitely want to mention him out there. Kemba Walker, worth a look in GPPs. He can always go off at any given time. It kind of sucks because he either completely duds or he goes off, so it's going to be tough. Fournier's 5.7. I don't like that price. RJ Barrett, worth a look at 7.1K. He seems to be the new alpha of the team. Julius Randle seems to have taken a big step back. He's letting RJ Barrett shoot a bunch more shots. So, I like RJ Barrett here in this matchup. Faster paced and bad defense from Sacramento. 7.1K, not too bad. That's probably it for me. Wait, how much was Julius Randle again? 9K. Yeah, probably. Golden State at Houston. Next game. We got Draymond Green out. Otto Porter out. James Wiseman out. Bielitsa's questionable. And I believe that's it. Oh, Andre Iguodala is out as well. So that opens up a little more bench minutes. We do know Kerr likes to play a lot of his bench guys. So it's going to be tough to play anyone from the bench, hoping that they have an explosion of a game. Jonathan Kuminga, Okay, so considering or assuming Klay Thompson doesn't sit, I do like him at 6K here against Houston. Pace up spot. Minutes have been trending up. Shots have volume. So 6K, not so bad. Andrew Wiggins at 6.6K against Houston. Love this spot for him. Definitely a good price for him as well. Steph Curry at 11K, probably going to fade that. Jordan Poole at 5.5K is worth a look in GPPs as a pivot. Probably not going to play him, but he's definitely worth a pivot. And Kevon Looney, probably not going to touch him either. On the Houston side, we have John Wall out. Of course, Kevin Porter Jr. is questionable, which is pretty big news for this squad. If he's in, I do believe the game has a chance to stay closer. If he's out, game is more likely to blow out. And if he's out, though, Jayshawn Tate at 5.3K, not so bad. Jalen Green, it's going to be a tough defense. Don't really like the spot, even if KPJ were to sit for him. Eric Gordon, I think, might be the guy that I'm looking at in GPPs. If Kevin Porter Jr. were to sit, it's either going to be him or Garrison Matthews are the two dudes that I'm going to be looking at if KPJ sits. But again, if he does sit, it's going to be a tougher matchup, tougher spot to stay close. So yeah, we're definitely going to need news on KPJ first. Actually, this game should stay close regardless. I'm just trying to see the talent and comparing them. I mean, they're going to be missing Otto Porter Jr., who's definitely a decent part of their rotation. So Houston should be able to keep it close regardless, which means that some pieces on this team are going to have to go off or score a little bit for them to stay close. And like I said, Eric Gordon's, I'm looking at that guy in GPPs. Jayshawn Tate 5.3, Christian Wood 8.6. He's okay. It's going to be a little bit of a tough matchup, but he should have a harder time as much as he would against Draymond. So definitely worth a look in GPPs as a contrarian spend up. Moving on, Portland at OKC last game on the slate. Damian Lillard out, Larry Nance out, Nasir Little out. Ellaby is questionable. He did not play yesterday. Cody Zeller out. With that being said, the team has been seeing its main rotation around these guys right here, these 5 guys. And in this matchup, pretty decent matchup. OKC is going to be missing Shea for a little bit, so I'm hoping this game stays close because I like Nurkic at 8.3K here after a dud game yesterday. Anthony Simons isn't bad at 7K. Norman Powell at 6.4K. I do like his price there. And Robert Covington is worth a look in GPPs. Watford might be a punt for me. And McLemore definitely worth a GPP look as well. As you can see, he has volume there, and he had 16 fantasy points. So if he just makes maybe 2 more threes, he's at 20-something at 3.5K, which is pretty nice for his value. So moving on to OKC, Shea's out, like I said. Bumping up hella Josh Giddey and Lou Dort. Definitely going to be worth good looks tomorrow, especially Josh Giddey without Shea. Basically runs that point guard role, and I do like him tomorrow. 39 minutes last game, holy crap. I do like him 7.3K, probably going to be one of the most chalkiest plays in my opinion. Trey Mann at 3.5K, definitely worth a look without no Shea if he does continue to start. We do want to see who's going to start for Shea, actually. So we're going to want this lineup news. Obviously, 5 p.m. game or the last game on the slate. There's no West Coast games tomorrow. We're definitely going to get that news late. So keep an eye out. Giddey, best guy here from OKC. Lou Dort, probably the second best. Definitely going to have a ton of shots. It's just up to him if he can make it or not. And Baisley, I think I like him as well. He should get a usage bump without Shea. The ball should be passed around a lot more, and there should be a lot more touches for everyone else. So I do like this spot for OKC here. And with that being said, that wraps up this NBA DFS DraftKings Picks video for January 31st, 2022. If you did indeed enjoy our content, if it did help you, if you got anything out of it, please go ahead, click that like button. I greatly appreciate it, and everyone at Karma, of course, does as well. And yeah, that's about all I got to say. I appreciate y'all for watching. Hope y'all had a good weekend. Let's get a good start to this week. Good luck in your contest. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out. It's your boy, Tristan, a.k.a. Sriracha DFS. Peace.